Welcome to Morrigan's Cottage. Morrigan's Cottage is a 200-year-old cottage set in Ireland's beautiful and wild west. Hello and welcome back to Morrigan's Cottage. If this is your first time here with us, my name is Aisling, my little dog Morrigan, who's running around somewhere beneath me. There she is. This is her cottage that I bought for her, sitting on about 4 acres of land. We have had this house now a year, and not a lot has been done to it because we were waiting for a grant to come through, and with any government grant it takes a long time, so we waited a full year until the grant was approved, and now we're ready to get going on this house. We've been working away on projects, so let me show you what we got done last week. This is what we did the last time, this little section along here, and I have to say, I think it's looking really good. You can see it is still drying because that's a lot lighter than what we did over here, but they will match up. It's the same batch of stuff. So delighted with how this wall turned out. There is still a little bit down here that needs to be done, and I'd like to clean up this a little bit. There's some parts that maybe I just didn't put enough in, so we'll just add a little bit on just to make sure it's super tight and secure. But this is the project for today. The project is we are going to take down all the remaining cement. I mean, if we're living in an ideal world, we would get the entire room cement free before the end of this weekend, except for maybe that corner, because there's like a lot of wires and stuff going on over there, and I don't want to horse around too much over there, but that's kind of the idea. I did take a little bit away over there ages ago just to make sure that we were still looking at stone, but this one here is a bit of a mystery to me because I don't know if it's still wet or not. And if this wall is still wet, that means we've got some kind of leak coming from upstairs. Now, this does feel pretty dry coming off. It feels pretty dusty. So I'm hoping that means all is well. But that is the plan for today. Now, you can probably see over here, we've got a little bit of damage going on. So once the cement has been taken down, we're going to get some stones to put in there just to hold that up. And then we're going to get it repointed. So yeah. This is the priority. If we got, here, maybe over here, maybe this wall here started, that would be great. So for any parts of the old stone wall, so like the bottom here, this kind of middle piece here, that has to be done first if it's going to be plastered over. So anything that's getting plastered over needs to be repointed first. So after the success of the voiceover on the last video that I did, I thought I would do another one here. Some people like the music, some people like the voiceover, but I thought I would do the voiceover here just to explain obviously what I'm doing. So I'm taking down the cement render off of this part of the stone wall, and it might be obvious, it might not be obvious, but I'm doing it very cautiously, and that's for a couple different reasons, and I thought I'd explain why I'm doing it so slow and so cautiously. So if you can see in the bottom left kind of corner, there is that hole in the wall. The cement render is covering a lot of it, so I wasn't sure how big or how deep that hole would get, so I just wanted to kind of be a little bit more careful working around it. The other factor is that this wall, the stones in some places were a lot looser than the other wall that we repointed the last time. So I just, again, wanted to be very careful and cautious to make sure that I wasn't doing anything that was going to damage the wall or knock stones out or cause myself any further problems. And then the final reason that I was being careful, directly above this wall in the attic is basically, this wall used to be on the opposite side in the other room. It's a fireplace, and as you go up into the attic, that chimney stack is still very much up in the attic, but they just kind of knocked the top off of it for the external part of the chimney and then put a roof over it. So when you go up into my attic, there is actually still a chimney stack up there. Just when you get to kind of the outside part of where you'd expect the chimney to be, it's not there anymore. They built a roof over it. So there is this kind of half demolished wall up in the attic on top of, leading up from this wall here that I'm taking the cement render off. So I don't know how stable that wall is up there. I don't know if there's rocks, kind of, stones from the wall loose or ready to fall down, or I don't know how dangerous that is. I was up there once, and I didn't take the best look at that because I was trying to fix the water at the time, so I just don't know. So I was being very careful because I was a bit worried that maybe I'd start knocking some rocks down from up there with the vibration from the machine I was using. So anyway, that's why I was going quite cautiously and quite slow with it. I'm also trying to be better at cleaning up after myself as I go, because sometimes you'll hear Morrigan walking around in the background. That's the problem with doing these voiceovers, is that she will squeak toys and play and make it all about her. But I am trying to be better at cleaning up after myself as I go, because I would actually die of embarrassment if the builders came to the house and it was in a mess. Even though the place is a mess and awful, I feel like I want the place at least somewhat a tiny bit clean for them when they come. So next weekend when we go down, that's going to be part of the plan, is to try and yes, Morrigan, hello, try clean up a little bit when they get here. So a quick recap. The builders are going to be coming. They're going to be looking at the back wall foundation because there might be problems with that and they might need to fix that up where the extension was on. Then they're going to be looking at the back roof. The back roof needs basically a rebuild because it's not in good shape. So they'll be doing that. They're going to be redoing the entire bathroom. So they're going to, replumb it, new toilet, sink, bathtub, shower, tiling, you name it, they're doing it. So the bathroom will be essentially complete with a couple kind of decorative bits being left for B. And then they're also doing like the electrics, the heating and the plumbing. Everything is ready now for the builders to come do all of those bits that I just said. And anything that I get done is just a bonus. So if you see me outside cutting grass, or if we're planting trees, which hopefully we'll be getting some bare root trees shortly, if I'm working on other projects that isn't inside the house, it's because, either A, the builders are coming, or B, it's not a mad rush to get it done. We've kind of done everything we need to get done. So that's obviously the plan. We'll see what happens when the builders come. They might find things that maybe weren't in the plan that we'll have to add to the plan, and take things out of the plan because of the unexpected things that have to now be added. But that is kind of the rough idea of the plan. So when I talk about the front bedroom or the main bedroom, this is the room I'm talking about. It's the master bedroom. It's the room that, is that a spider? No, it's a nail. It's the room that I'm going to be sleeping in when this is all done. The plan for this room is, and this might change because again, I have to talk to the builders, but the plan is we're going to keep this part of the fire exposed. So what the plan is that there's going to be like plaster kind of coming up there. It'll cut across and come down. So anything inside that kind of rectangle square area here will be exposed. It'll look like the old fireplace. Then the plaster will start just above here and go up to the top, and it'll come out a bit. So it'll come out kind of like maybe to about there to give the effect that it's kind of like a chimney place. And then what's going to happen is in front of that, hopefully I'll be able to tile that kind of weird part that they've covered over. There'll be an electric, fake electric stove that goes in. And the plan is the plasterboarded area then kind of that comes down the middle here and stops just above this big stone. A TV will go there. And then on this side, it'll be probably plasterboarded to about this high of the wall. So the wall from the ground up to about here will be plasterboard on both sides. And then what I'll do is I'll have like maybe two presses or something, two sets of drawers there. And then above it, so if you can imagine, it's hard to imagine, but like this down here in the middle, this is going to be plasterboarded. So it's going to look like a chimney. This will be exposed. Then this square here and this square over here, that will be exposed stone. Then the plan is this wall here will be plastered, and then this wall here and this wall here will be plastered so they can be insulated. Then this wall here, so the kind of mental plan is the bed is going to go somewhere here, and this wall here, the bottom half of the wall is going to be plastered, so you can have like plugs or whatever, and then the top half, if it's in okay condition, that will be exposed. So that's the plan. Once the bit of cleanup was done, then I moved on to scraping out in between each stone, and let me tell you, it was a lot harder this time than it was on the other wall. The stuff inside the stones on this one, I don't know if it was mixed with cement, I don't know what it was, but it was just really tricky to get out. So I did actually have to get the SDS out to try and help remove it, which wasn't ideal because I was worried about marking the stones. But anyway, this is what the next step was, and it was definitely a lot harder than before. going up to the house? Race you. What are you doing? Let's go. Our little drain is still working really well. The temptation to get out and strim down along the verges and kind of back on the land where the ditches are for drainage. Oh, it's very tempting. It's very, very tempting. But it is 5 o'clock now. So it's getting dark. Well, it's going to start getting dark. So there's no point starting. But we'll see how far we get with this pointing, because if we get far enough with the pointing, we might do a little bit of that tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see what the weather's like. It might be rainy again. But just brought Missy Moo for a quick little wander. Plus I was curious to see, was the drainage ditch still working, which it is, so that's great. So back inside now, and we'll keep going with the wall. So I left this part of the repointing in regular speed because I thought you'd like to see how I fixed the little hole in the wall. Obviously not a professional, not a stonemason, but I went out to the garden and I found 2 flat stones that I thought would work well, and then I broke those stones into smaller pieces to fit them into the hole and kind of just built them up nicely in the hole with lots of mortar. Obviously first time ever doing this, but I tried to place them so that they would be sort of staggered and supported to the stones around them, and also the stones that are a little bit further into the wall. So I think it worked out pretty well. I will show you the final product towards the end, but since checking them, it's been a couple days since this was recorded. The stones are nice and strong in there, so hopefully it is an okay job, but again, not a professional, just did my best with what I had and what I thought was the right thing to do. So anyway, I left this in full speed, so as you can see I'm just putting a ton of mortar in there to get it as far back as possible and in and around the stones that are already in there. There was some cement that had been kind of just like, I think, thrown in there before the cement wall was covered up, and I picked a lot of that out because it obviously isn't great to have in there. But yeah, this is what I did. Once I had lots of mortar in there, I then put the stones in and I kind of arranged them so that they were sitting nicely and that they were supportive to each other. And this part took quite a bit of time, so I just left it in normal speed for right now, but it will go to fast speed again because it was a bit of a slow process to get them in there and to get them pointed. So I don't know at what point yet, but I ran out of battery, so I probably missed a bit. But this is what we've done so far, and let me tell you, this wall has been a lot harder than the wall over there. First of all, scraping it out was a lot harder. But obviously we had this big hole here. So I have filled it with stone, and I'm just kind of doing the first layer of mortar. And then what I'm going to do is let it dry overnight, scrape it a bit, like brush it back a bit to make the bottom parts look a bit nicer. And then there's some areas like just down here, just here, and then obviously this section here where the holes were really deep. So once the first kind of layer of mortar dries, I'll put more on to get it more in place. But this is what we're looking at so far. It's 7 o'clock. I'm so tired. So we're gonna do up one more batch of mortar, get this kind of section done where the rocks were falling out, and then I think we'll probably call it an evening for tonight. Yeah, it's tough. It's slow going. My goal is to get to just here. So if I can get this section done, that's a win. And then we'll move over and we'll start this section and then eventually that section. But that's as high as we're going to be doing it for now. But it's so slow. I've been at this for hours and it's so cold. I'm so cold and tired. But I'm going to get you set up. We're going to keep going. I'm exhausted. We have been doing this all day and I'm just wrecked. I'm so tired. It's nearly 8 o'clock now. I'm gonna get the tools cleaned up, get into my pajamas, make some dinner and cuddle Morrigan for the rest of the night. We're really happy with what we got done. So we're gonna let that dry a little. I'll come back in maybe just before bed and do a little bit of brushing back and just cleaning it up a little, and then tomorrow morning we'll do it properly. And then we will move on to this part of the wall tomorrow. We'll scrape it out, and hopefully get maybe the middle section repointed before we have to go back up to Dublin. So I'm so tired. That it is actually like exhausting. It's not physically demanding, but it's exhausting because it's tedious and it's boring. But yeah. And remember, this is actually going to be hidden. That what we just did there, that's all going to be hidden, which is like, ugh. So I was just flopping it in. So it doesn't have to be beautiful. It just has to be stable. So anyway, that's it for this part of the video.